And welcome to a new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Spooky Skalansky.
And I'm your co-host. Yeah, I'm not doing a voice. Robert Skalansky. That's creepy, right?
And apparently, yeah, your name, just your full name. Yeah, that's horribly creepy.
No, I said Robert. I'm not doing a voice. Skalansky.
Oh no, that's not creepy at all. Compared to some of the other names like Bat Graining, and I can't remember some of the other ones. There was a vampire one in there.
I'm sure. Well, you kind of stole mine, so.
Oh, well, I told you to think of one. Maybe I should have told you to think of like 5 of them.
Maybe.
Maybe next Halloween. Next Halloween you'll have a better one. But yeah, so on the top of this episode, I just want to say, unfortunately, this episode, we could not get our really good friend Andy McKillfrish or McKelfrish on the episode. He unfortunately is tied up with his buddy Jay Leno, and I don't know how much is out there in the world, but he's doing a game show with Jay Leno, and they're in the process of writing and filming. I think it was like 120 episodes. So look for that when look for that when it comes out on the TVs. And Andy wants to be back next time. So about 3 months down the road, hopefully we should have Andy McElfresh back.
Yeah. So he got busy because COVID ended, and you get just the two of us this week.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably not as smart as Andy McElfresh when it comes to a lot of these gags in the treehouse, but we
will do our best to educate you guys.
Yes, we'll try our best. So this episode aired 2 days before Halloween. Oh, so this is season 4, episode 5, Treehouse of Horror number 3, and it aired October 29th, 1992. So,
yep.
A couple days before Halloween, it was right around that time. So
I feel like the first 15 seasons outside of the first season, because it wasn't considered Treehouse of Horror.
Yep.
I feel like all their Halloween episodes up to a certain point, they always try to do by October 31st, but never after October 31st. And I remember the first time, not clearly, but I do remember the first time they did it after October 31st. I'm like, you can't do that. Halloween is over.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes sports pushes it off. A lot of times it's the World Series, since that's on Fox. So
yeah,
unfortunately, but this year of 1992, they got it pretty close.
Yep.
So obviously no traditional opening this week.
No.
But we get Homer in so you get the frame, the Alfred Hitchcock silhouette on the red curtain, just like we've seen the red curtain the past 2 seasons. And Homer steps out in front of it doing the Alfred Hitchcock thing, and obviously Homer is slightly fatter than the silhouette. And
kind of funny.
To be fair, Alfred Hitchcock was a big guy. So,
yeah, he was.
I could almost see Homer and Hitchcock kind of being, but I get the gag, and I completely am for it.
Yep.
And so Homer steps out and turns to the camera and this is instead of Marge. So the past 2 seasons we got Marge warning kids, and obviously no one listened. So now they're attempting at Homer giving the warning, and Homer is like, "Good evening. I've been asked to tell you that the following show is very scary, with stuff that might give your kids nightmares. You see, there are some crybabies out there, religious types mostly, who might be offended. If you are one of them, I advise you to turn off your set now. Come on, I dare you. Bark, 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 bark.
What are you, chicken?"
And then the TV turns off, which is kind of cool. And then Marge, kind of overlaying the black, asks if Homer called everyone chicken.
Oh, so God, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I like it. And, it's Homer. He's like, dude, you're a bunch of babies. Just watch watch our horror show. And so then we get the Treehouse of Horror intro, but just like these last few seasons, it's still technically not called Treehouse of Horror. It is
even though the title of the episode, by all accounts, is Treehouse of Horror.
Yep, and that's what you'll see on Disney Plus. And yep. I guess I didn't look at. I don't know if the box set, the DVD box set, says Treehouse or
Halloween
if it says
special.
Halloween Special. But the title card is just Halloween Special number 3. And I do find it, I like it. I like that they're continuing on with it. But it's funny when they actually do finally switch over to Treehouse, they don't start over with 1 again. They just, they continue on the numbers.
Well, yeah, because it is, I mean,
well, it's not Halloween Special anymore. Now it's Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah, well, why would they just, I mean, but they still, like, called it the Treehouse of Horror episode. It's just, within the show itself, it's a Halloween Special.
Yeah.
You can have 2 different titles.
No, only 1. So, we get the traditional Springfield Cemetery, and we get some headstones that read Drexel's Class, which, unfortunately, that's an Andy McElfresh thing. He probably would have been like, "Oh, Stephen and Robert, this is exactly what this means."
Yeah,
I'm with stupid, which is really funny. Yeah. I mean, that's the 90s I'm with stupid T-shirt gag. Yeah. You kids now might not get the I'm with stupid gag. R. Buckminster Fuller.
I've heard the name, but I probably should have done a little research, but
yeah, that one I don't get. Slapstick.
Oh, I missed that one.
Maybe comedy.
Oh no, you're saying it's slapstick. Okay, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. And American Workmanship.
Oh Jesus!
and then the tombstone crumbles right after it's shown, because we buy Chinese and Japanese and Asian stuff because in the 90s American made stuff was kind of crap, but nowadays,
that's when it was starting to shift to made in China and made in other countries besides the US. That's when the shift kind of happened.
Yep. And honestly, I mean, stuff in those countries was made cheaper and actually made slightly better. But I have to tell you, man, the American made stuff, I guess it was more cheaper, but I mean, the American made stuff nowadays, man, it's gotten really good, especially in the technology stuff. American made stuff is
but really here's good. The thing: a lot of the stuff that is "quote unquote" American made, a lot of those parts still come from other countries.
Yep, because they can make them cheaper.
Yeah,
and so we get a couch gag. This is the first, I think, Simpsons Treehouse couch gag, and all the Simpsons skeletons come and sit on the couch, and we see Marge's hair. With the Bride of Frankenstein streak through it, and Maggie's pacifier is a bone.
Yeah, which is like, it was like part of her skeleton, which kind of weird,
kind of creepy, but it's a Treehouse gag, so let's take it as a win. And the credits as they roll in actually have nicknames this time, and it was
season 2 had it as well, or season 3 had it as well.
Yeah. And kind of like we talked about with McElfresh, a lot of it was, the animators have to, change it all, and they have to pass, through SAG-AFTRA if your name is going to be different on the title card.
I do feel like this is the first year they did the green. Because they were green.
Yeah, they had the slimy green, the dripping looking green.
So, we open this year's Treehouse of Horror, not with trick-or-treating or up in the treehouse eating candy, telling scary stories. Nope, we get a Halloween party
with all like a Halloween kids party.
So we see Lisa dressed as the Statue of Liberty, which makes sense because it's Lisa. This is a weird one. Bart is dressed as Alex DeLarge from Clockwork Orange.
God, Bart wouldn't have even seen that movie.
No. But maybe he would have snuck in to see it.
But remember, that was like a 60s to 70s movie.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have even been in theaters. That would have had to be in a rental. Like Bart would have had to rent that. And do the Simpsons even have a VHS player? Because that's what it would have been.
Yes, they do. They do.
Oh, right. Because Homer watches the tapes of Maggie on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then we also see Milhouse is radioactive, man. The funny thing is, when I first watched this episode, I don't know why, but I thought for the life of me that Milhouse was the Flash.
Oh,
I didn't even think, and then I saw like the front, because the first time you see Milhouse is from behind.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, it's red, and he's got like a thing on his head. I'm like, oh, he's the Flash, and then I saw the front. I'm like, no, you dummy, he's radioactive, man.
Yep, because I don't think DC is DC ever canon in.
There's a Halloween episode with The Simpsons, I believe, where they are dressed up as Marvel superheroes, and maybe there's one where they do DC, but I think there is one where they do Marvel. So,
well, we all know now they're owned by Marvel, but
I think Disney, it was before. Well, I think they did the Marvel thing before they were owned by Disney.
Okay, we'll have to keep an eye out on that, because. Yeah. But yeah, and then we learned, I know it's a future episode, but I love how Milhouse is dressed as Radioactive Man and winds up being Fall Out Boy.
Yes. And then we see Marge in the background, and she is dressed as Cleopatra. And, now Homer's got to make his grand entrance.
Yep.
And he announces himself. He's like, behold my mighty glory. And as he's walking down the stairs, because, it's the Simpsons house, there's a nail sticking out. And his sheet gets caught on the nail, and now Homer is downstairs in his underwear.
That's awesome.
I don't know how I'd react if I was one of Bart's friends, but I'm pretty sure if I was Bart, I would just be utterly mortified if my friends saw my dad in his underwear.
Yeah, but I feel like the kids would have seen Homer in his underwear before.
Yeah, it's true. It's Homer.
He's kind of like one of those guys that kind of wanders around, shirtless and stuff like that.
Pantless.
Or pantless.
So now we see, and then we cut to Nelson, who's a pirate, and he laughs at Homer in his ha ha voice. And then Martin prances into the scene. He is Calliope. I think that's how you say it, is Calliope, who is the muse of heroic poetry. And Nelson just punches Martin in the stomach. And to be personally honest, I feel like I would be Nelson in that, because there is so many other different things you could dress up as. Like, I'm not shaming Nelson or Martin for dressing up as it, but the way he enters the room, and it's just annoying. Well, he does the little prancing thing, and it's just like, I mean, that's gonna get you punched.
Okay, remember what was it, a few episodes ago where, during the Milhouse gets his girlfriend, he goes home, and he plays like the lute, or the little. He could have been like a old Robin Hood player thing.
Yeah, but this is Martin.
Yeah, but that's still nerdy enough to get punched in the face. It's just really kind of an odd costume for Martin, because he could have been Einstein. He could have been. I mean, there's other nerdy things he could have been.
I think it fits Martin fine.
Maybe.
So now they decide to play. They decide to play a Halloween game where, I don't know. I've actually done this game. It wasn't even for Halloween. I don't remember where it was, but I do remember doing this game where Marge is like, "There was a witch and she died, and these are her body parts." And so they have grapes for the eyes. The hair is spaghetti. And for whatever reason, I feel like brains would be like beans or something. But in the Simpsons case, their brains is a steak.
Yeah. I mean, steak kind of could feel like brains with your eyes closed a little bit. But I mean, the only time I've done this game was at a haunted house where you like walk around and put your, which I don't think this game is going to fly anymore with COVID. Sticking your hands in germs and bowls of food.
Yeah, no, that's this game right now. Can't play it. Probably never get played again. And so, the food get passes around, and Bart is, is like, "Hey, we didn't get any of the food." And then Marge takes her flashlight. Now, by the way, I thought I wrote this down. Homer is in his normal clothes.
Yeah.
When we see him
you did write that
eating
down.
the food.
It was the next line.
I did. It is the next line. Yeah, I don't know if maybe Homer went upstairs, but as we'll learn later, I won't spoil anything, that I feel like this is an animation error.
Yeah, they just completely forgot
that Homer was naked.
Either that or Homer had his clothes downstairs, and then he got in his underwear, and he's like, I'm not going to staple this toga thing back together yet. And so he puts on his normal clothes, plays the game, and then gets back into his costume, maybe? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. So Homer is eating the food, and I love, he goes, what? It's an evil game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's food involved. Of course it's evil.
Well, so I could see Homer eating the spaghetti and eating the grapes, but I don't know if Homer's smart enough or knows enough not to eat a raw steak.
I mean...
Or did the steak not even get to him yet?
It's possible the steak didn't get to him yet, because I think he was eating the grapes and the spaghetti.
Yeah.
So now... So after Homer ruins the game, Marge is like, does anybody know any scary stories? And Lisa goes, oh, I know one. It's about a doll. And Homer goes, that's not scary. An evil doll. So now we get our first Halloween story of the Treehouse of Horror, Clown Without Pity. And this is an overall spoof of the Twilight Zone episode Living Doll.
Yep. And so the name, the doll in that name is actually a talking Tina doll. Oh. And when you pull the string, the doll says, my name is Talking Tina and I love you very much.
Also, I don't know if this is true, but the title of the episode is a spoof of a song, Town Without Pity.
Oh.
So there's that. So the story starts on Bart's birthday, and we cut to him opening up a box with a ton of cash that Grandpa Abe gave him, and he goes, and Marge's like, where did you get that money from? He's like, the government. I didn't earn it. I don't need it. But if they miss one payment, I'll raise hell. So his Social Security?
I don't think they pay out in cash, but...
Well, I mean, maybe he got a check and he cashed it out.
Put it in a box? What is this, his nest egg? And then just gives it to Bart?
Like, I mean, it's a Halloween episode, so, you know.
That's pretty funny, though. And then, I think this is the first instance. No, maybe it isn't the first instance. Maybe it's the second instance of this. So he's like, Homer's like, oh, I forgot to buy you a present. But I swear on my father's grave, I'll get you one right now.
While Abe is standing right there.
I don't think you have to swear on your father's grave if you're going right now to get one.
I know.
But
I love the fact that you just watch Homer walk out of the room, run to his car, and hear the car peel away.
Yeah, so I think that's like the second time that we've heard it. But I love in future episodes of The Simpsons where we get this gag. And it's not even like, I'll be right back. You just see the person wander out of the room and hear the car start and drive away. So that's always pretty funny. And so Homer's first stop, apparently, is because, there's so many stores in Springfield. Yep. But Homer decides to go to House of Evil, your one-stop evil shop.
I mean, if you want something evil, I guess that's where you go. I don't know.
I don't know why Homer needs something evil, but I think he just wanted a trinket. And so we see Homer walk into the shop, and the first thing we see on the counter as Homer walks in is the monkey's paw from Treehouse of Horror #2 on the counter.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Because so after Ned was done with it, he must have sold it to this shop.
Yeah.
He's like, and the fingers were open, so it was brand new. So Ned must have used all his wishes. The paw opened back up again. Or I guess the paw opens when you hand it to a new owner. So Ned handed it to the shopkeeper. The paw opened, and the shopkeeper's smart. He's like, I know all my crap is evil. I'm not wishing on this thing. I'm going to pawn it off on someone else. And so he steps up the counter and he talks to the guy. He's like, we sell forbidden objects from places men fear to tread. We also sell frozen yogurt, which I call Frogurt.
And I did look this up because I was curious, because I've heard of, frozen yogurt. We have a couple frozen yogurt places up here. And it was introduced in the 1970s as a healthier alternative to ice cream.
Yep.
Well, it originally wasn't, and then it was marketed as, and I'm pretty sure it's not that much healthier than regular ice cream.
No. So now we see a couple things on the shelf as Homer's kind of looking what to buy, and we get a shrunken head. It's 20% rayon and 80% shrunken head. Beating heart, which I don't know if hearts could still be beating after they've been removed from a body. But
it's an evil beating heart.
Oh yeah, and an evil Krusty doll, which predecessor right here, not in a box, just sitting on the.
I would really like to much point that out that it is not in a box,
sitting on the couch. And so the shopkeeper hands Homer the Krusty doll. And he's like, "This is the best lines in all of Treehouse of Horror. Take this object, but beware, it comes with a terrible curse." Oh, that's bad. But it comes with a free Frogurt. That's good. The Frogurt is also cursed. That's bad. But you get your choice of topping. That's good. The toppings contain potassium benzoate.
And then Homer's
just like serious shopkeeper. And that's bad. Can I leave now?
Oh my god, I totally forgot about that. I saw that. I'm like, oh my god, I love this
so good. So good. And so we cut back to the house when Homer's on his way back. And so is this a birthday party? Oh, Bart's birthday.
It is. Yeah, it's Bart's birthday party.
Right.
This has been established. This is canon.
So he's turning 10 again?
Yes.
Right, okay. Just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to make sure he's not turning 11, because it is.
Yes.
So to be fair, we don't know. I guess we kind of knew they don't age through 3 seasons so far. But hey, man, he just had birthday number 10 in episode 1 of season 3, so maybe he was turning 11, but it's just a story, so.
Halloween is non-canon.
Yeah. I know. It's just a story.
Yes.
So they're playing Pin the Tail on the Donkey on apparently the front door, because
of all places.
That's so smart. They could have played it on the door down to the basement. They could have played it on a wall, yeah. But no, front door. And Homer rams Milhouse as he comes through the door. And so we get kind of one of our first animation errors in this Treehouse of Horror. And Homer brought the doll, without the box, because the guy just pulled it off the shelf.
Yes.
And Homer gives the present to Bart wrapped in a box.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing I could think of, now we didn't see the entire transaction, really. We just saw Homer wanting to leave.
But he handed the doll over to Homer.
Yep, but there are some places that showcase the product out of the box. Like a good example.
But they're not gonna hand you the showcase product. They are gonna hand you the product that is in the box.
No. Like a really good example, like a place called Box Lunch where we go. I went there. This was a while ago when they had like Scooby-Doo's. The Scooby-Doo pops out. Well, they had a Scooby-Doo on display in their window.
Okay. But
the product they had, the one Scooby-Doo they had on the floor, the box was actually kind of messed up. And I was like, do you have another box? Another one. Well, this is the last one. And the box they had in their back room. So they went and pulled the Scooby-Doo out of the front case and then went to the back room to grab the box. So technically, they handed me the Scooby-Doo without the box.
That is a completely different, no, bad analogy.
How is that a bad? That's exactly what happened to Homer. The guy had the Krusty doll on display, and then he went to go get the box.
But this is also I mean, yes, we didn't see the full transaction. Maybe the dude ended up giving him a box, but we see him handing the doll and Homer asking to leave. At least show me the box that it came in.
Why? That's just 30 extra seconds that the Simpsons writers did not have to put into the episode.
Because also these are all like trinkets, and it's a shop that people sell stuff to. So if you're gonna have the Krusty the doll, they could have written it with the Krusty the doll in a box.
It looked more evil out of the box.
So I want to know where the box came from, because we never see
room. Anyway, so Abe comes out. He's like, the doll is evil. And it's like, you say that about all the presents. I just wanted attention. Yeah.
Oh,
but God. As we'll learn, he was right. Yeah. And so we see Homer sitting on the couch watching Kent Brockman, and Kent Brockman on this news like, and in environmental news, scientists have announced that Springfield's air is now only dangerous to children and the elderly. And Homer goes, woo!
I do love this scene because I actually rewound it a couple times because after the woohoo, you see the Krusty the Clown doll, but when you start the scene, it is not on the couch.
It's because he's a sneaky little doll, man.
I know, because he's evil.
Yep.
He's evil. So Homer sees the Krusty doll and he pulls the string and it goes, I'm Krusty the Clown and I don't like you. And I'm Krusty the Clown and I'm gonna kill you. Although this time he didn't pull the string.
Yeah, Homer giggles. I didn't pull the string that time.
and then the Krusty the Clown doll. I said I'm going to kill you. You, Homer Simpson. Oh yeah? With what? And then because he like throws the clown down and the doll pulls out a knife, which is a reference to the movie's Child Play, which came out in 1988.
Yeah,
great movie.
And another thing that's kind of cool about this scene that they pulled from Child's Play is a lot of it. So if you guys haven't seen Child's Play, go watch it. It's really good. The doll does talk in its packaged voice, like the Child's Play voice.
Yes.
And eventually it gets to a point where it changes over to the actor's voice.
Well, no. I mean, he talks in the voice when he's being creepy, but he always had the voice. Because when he transferred his soul into the doll, he laughs in the actor's voice.
Yep. But no. Like I'm saying, when the little kid Andy passes it off the doll to his mom, like the doll will talk in the actual battery operated voice.
Yeah, because the bad guy doesn't want to be found out yet.
Yeah, but I don't know if the bad guy could talk in a high pitched squealy voice that good, unless his soul can control the little box inside the doll.
Yeah, I'm sure it can. It's an evil doll.
Yeah.
So, and then Homer screams and the rest of the Simpsons are in the kitchen eating breakfast maybe, and they come rushing in and Homer's like, the doll, it's trying to kill me. And Bart's like, man, I'd say the pressure's finally gotten to Homer. But what pressure? That's such a great line because it's true. Homer's lazy. He doesn't do anything. So the Krusty doll then laughs and walks toward Homer. But, and this is kind of weird. So he stops because the pull string goes back into his body.
Yep.
And but that's the thing. Like when he was telling Homer he was going to kill him, Homer never pulled the string. So it's stopping him from moving.
And who pulled the string the second time?
Exactly.
Maybe the Krusty doll pulled his own string.
But then why wouldn't he just do it again to move? Because he points to the string and Homer pulls the string.
Dumb Homer.
Oh my god.
The doll could have been stuck there forever, but no.
Oh, and so Homer must have escaped, and then we cut to the next scene, and I love this scene. I completely forgot that this was part of the Treehouse of Horror episode.
So Homer has a first name. It's Homer. My baloney has the second name. It's Homer.
Yeah, so Homer is singing the Oscar Mayer Wiener song, but he spells out his name instead of Oscar, and he only spells out his first name instead of Oscar Mayer.
Because if you guys know the commercial, it's Mayer. So Homer, but you have to have 5 letters to really do the song right.
Correct.
So
I still sing the Oscar Mayer Wiener song with the Homer.
Oh,
I still do it. I love it. So then the Krusty doll jumps out of the water with like a harpoon to attack Homer. And he runs out of he freaks out, runs out of the tub, runs past Patty and Selma and Marge. And Patty says, there goes the last lingering thread of her heterosexuality. And as we do learn, in fact, Patty is a lesbian.
Well, now she is because Homer...
No, she's always, she says in the episode, she always knew she was a lesbian at a very young age.
Yeah, but
this didn't push her into a.
Oh, no, come on! Seeing Homer naked, that would push anyone into the over the edge.
So, anyways, the Krusty I love this too. The Krusty the Doll is hanging out in the Malibu Stacy dollhouse in Lisa's room, and Homer comes in with a bag filled with his socks, a suitcase, and a chain. And he takes the Krusty doll, shoves it in the bag. He's like, "What, do you think this bag of socks is going to stop me?" Actually, I'm kind of getting a little dizzy. And it faints. Like, and so then Homer locks the suitcase with the chain wrapped around it.
Oh, that was good. Are we just going to skip the fact that that the evil Krusty doll is sleeping with a autonomous Malibu Stacy?
I mean, yes.
That was pretty good. That's pretty good. God, that's great. So Homer goes to the middle of the woods, and is this the first time we've seen the bottomless pit, or has Fat Tony thrown anyone else into the pit?
Who fell into the bottomless pit, Steve?
No, that was the what was that called? That's not the same. No, because there's no tent around it, and that
doesn't mean anything. Maybe the guy up and moved.
No, because it was in the middle of a desert. There were 0 trees around where this was.
It's the bottomless pit. It goes wherever it needs to go.
Oh, I see.
Actually, I think it might have been the mystery spot.
Exactly.
But also,
it wasn't the bottomless pit. It was the Springfield mystery spot.
But also, that was also a bottomless pit.
You don't know that it was bottomless. It could come out somewhere. It's just a mystery spot. But this, my friends, is a bottomless pit.
But clearly not.
Yeah, because it's got to stop somewhere. If any of you guys know physics, a pit's got to stop somewhere.
Correct.
And so he throws the doll into the bottomless pit, and then we get a mobster who throws a dead body into the pit, wrapped in the traditional rug that I'm sure the guy was killed on. Yes. And some guy with nude photos of Whoopi Goldberg. Where the hell did those come from?
They were Polaroids? Maybe he's paparazzi?
Oh my God. And he's like, who would have thought it? No one would want these. So he drops them in the pit. And even the pit doesn't want them. The pit throws them back. Oh, that was pretty good. Now I wonder what the guy's next... I would have been so funny if the writers had times. I'd say the guy lights the box on fire, but they're like fire resistant, and you can't even burn them. It's just this guy. It's just this guy's nightmare of owning Whoopi Goldberg nudes.
Oh, that's what he gets for taking nude photos of Whoopi Goldberg.
That's right.
Without her permission.
He might have had her permission. They just no one wanted them. He didn't want to sell them. Even Playboy didn't want them. Okay, we'll get beyond that. So Homer gets home, and the Krusty doll is on the bottom of the car. And this is, I think, the first gag, and we see this gag in Cape Fear with Sideshow Bob strapped to the bottom of the car.
Correct.
So I wonder. Obviously, this happened first, so I wonder if someone thought, "Oh, that was just a really funny gag."
Well, it's been a pretty widely used movie and TV trope for a really long time up to this point too, because it started in like the 70s.
Really, man, I figured you'd be destroyed taped under a car.
You would be. Now
a doll could probably get away with it because it's small and tiny. I mean, it get a little roughed up, but a human. Yeah, I think a human would.
Oh no, absolutely. You would probably die. Or at the very least you would be badly beaten up because the road would, tear your back to shreds.
Exactly. So cuts himself down, and he's like, "Guess who, fat boy?" And then Homer yells, "The doll's trying to kill me." And he's just like, "Oh, and the toaster's been laughing at me."
And it's kind of weird. So when he runs through the kitchen, there's no kitchen table.
Unless it was just the random shots of
no, because it was a wide shot of the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
There's no kitchen table.
Yeah. And so Homer's laying on the ground, and Krusty's over his mouth, holding it open with his foot, just pulling on his tongue. Because that's about all the Krusty doll could really handle. And so...
no, because we saw him with a knife before. He could have easily stabbed Homer.
And now he's just trying to rip out his tongue. And so Marge grabs the box, and it says, "Problems? Call 1-900-DON'T-SUE." I feel it's a good Krusty the Clown.
Yes.
Krusty the Clown phone number, but I love how it's a 900 number. Those aren't normally helplines. So
no.
And so we get the hold music while Marge is waiting on hold for them to help, and we get the song "Everybody Loves a Clown" by Gary Lewis and the Playboys. Good song choice. Probably not hard to get the rights to that one.
Nope.
And then we see the guy come in, like an electrician of some sort.
Yes.
And grabs the doll. Here's your problem. Someone set this thing to evil. And then he clicks it to good. Because there's a good and evil switch on it.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. And then the Krusty doll is like, I love you. And so in the next scene, the Krusty doll becomes Homer's servant.
Yep.
And a couple things we noticed. There's now a coffee table in the den.
Yeah, where did that come from?
Remember, non-canon, so they can have whatever they want in a story.
That is true. Yep.
Also, the picture above Homer is not the sailboat, which, canon or not, I feel like that's a pretty...
yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, I get that it's a story that Lisa's telling, but I feel like that picture should probably be on the wall.
Yeah, we should keep that pretty standard. And so Krusty goes home to Malibu Stacy because he lives in her dream house. I mean, hey, if you're a doll and you want to live somewhere, I feel like Malibu Stacy's dream house is a good place to live. Yep. And he's like, hey, baby, let me tell you about my day. And then her head immediately falls off because she's done with him. And so after the story, we cut back to Homer holding the flashlight back in his toga outfit. And he's telling a horrible story. He's like, and the guy had Hook for a hand. And Bart's like, so? Well, don't you remember? He got it when... And then he's like, oh, but whatever. And then he says something else like, Bart's like, well, and? Like Homer's literally telling a useless, pointless horror story that has no context whatsoever.
And then Grandpa tells Homer he's coughed up scarier stuff than that story.
And I believe it.
I believe it. Yeah, he's an old man. So, and then, Bart turns to Grandpa and he goes, well, why don't you tell a story, Grandpa? You've lived a long and interesting life. Gus goes, that's a line. You know it.
But I have seen a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Which is really funny because we get so many awesome Grandpa stories about his life after this fact. I don't think we've hit a certain episode yet where Grandpa has his tales, but we do end up getting them.
And so now we get the story of King Homer, which is clearly a reference to King Kong. And the original King Kong came out in what, the 60s? I should
No, 30s. It was
30. That's what I thought it was.
Yep, the black and white, the first original black and white King Kong came out in the 30s. I got to see it for my film history class. Definitely a interesting
I've seen the remake.
the Jack Black remake.
No, not that one. The first remake.
Oh, that one before. I think that.
Or no, wait. Was that Jack Black?
You mean the one from like early 2000s?
No, wasn't there a remake in the 90s?
Oh, there might have been. I mean, I'm sure there's been a ton of a ton of King Kongs. I mean, I think almost every decade got themselves. But the early one, the black and white like this one.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the gorilla was obviously like a sewn together puppet, like. But it was good. It was good for what it was. It was decent.
Yeah. Well, it's the 30s. You can't. There's no effects.
Nope.
You gotta be creative. So we go to the dock and we see Burns and Smithers, and Marge comes up saying she answered the ad. And the ad reads, single white female for mysterious expedition. Must like monkeys. Non-smoker preferred. Now, here's the thing. I didn't notice this at first. I was reading through some facts about this episode. The ad above Burns's ad is part of the lyrics to the song Escape, the Pina Colada song. And it goes, the ad reads, if you like pina coladas, getting caught in the rain, come with me and escape.
Yep. Now here's a fun fact for everyone. The song is entitled Escape, The reason why they added in parentheses the Pina Colada song is because no one knew what this song was. And so if you look on radio, like the digital radio on an app, they add that. Yep. But if you go to the original album of this, it's just Escape. They didn't obviously put that on there. Now, another fun fact, if you guys don't know what this song, like everyone's like, oh, if you like Pina Coladas, Getting Caught in the Rain, they know the chorus.
Yeah. I've listened to the song.
Actually listen to this song. It's literally about a guy trying to cheat on his wife and a wife that is trying to cheat on his husband, and
they cheat on each other with each
other. I feel like any husband-wife combo that replies to an ad and they meet at a bar, they're like, I'd be completely pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I wouldn't get together. Oh, you do like pina coladas? Oh, let's go on this vacation together and escape.
Like, I feel like this song is telling us, hey, dummies, communicate better with each other, and this crap won't happen. Yep. So, anyways, I love this. So, Burns asks Smithers his opinion on women, and Smithers goes, women and semen don't mix, sir. Oh, my God, such a great line.
It's like,
it's so good.
Yeah, it's like, Burns is like, we know what you think.
And so then Burns, hires Marge, and then he does like a little maniacal laughter. So now we're on the boat, and Marge is like suntanning, and Lenny and Carl are on like a pipe or something of the ship, the mast, and they're crew members. And Carl goes, "Oh, I heard we're going to Ape Island," which obviously is a reference to Skull Island.
Yep.
And Lenny's like, "But I wanted to go to Candy Apple Island. They have apes too, just not as big."
He's like, "Oh, what do they have there?" Well, the obvious answer was going to be candy apples, but they have apes.
Yep. And so we get to the island and we hear the natives chanting Homer's name. Yep. Homer. And I love the fact that Otto is a ship captain in this.
I know. That's an odd choice. I mean, I feel like you could almost introduce the sea captain to this episode or something.
You could have.
But Otto's like, "Hey, who's this Homer dude?" And Burns is like, "He's either a 50-foot prehistoric ape or a tourist trap concocted by the Ape Island JCs. Either way, we're going ashore."
Yep. And so, Marge asks Burns if she was going with, and I love how it's like, yes, why we can't go without our bathing beauty. Save that one.
Yeah. And Marge still hasn't caught on.
No.
And so we get the island chief, and he's shouting, Mosi Tapatu, which is translated as the blue-haired woman will make a good sacrifice. And in reality, Samoa native Mosi Tapatu was a running back for USC in the 1970s, and later went on to a career in the NFL with the New England Patriots.
Nice. And the Rams.
Oh, didn't know the Rams.
Yep.
But
he played for 13 years.
Yeah.
So he must have been pretty good.
Yeah. And he got put in a Simpson episode, which clearly that makes you a superstar if you get put in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
And so, Burns lies to Marge about her not being a sacrifice. And we cut to Ape Homer fighting a dinosaur. Now, that's not necessarily not true. This did happen in the King Kong movie. But if any of you guys have seen the new movies, like they're really introducing like the monster universe. Like King Kong lives in the same universe as monsters and Godzilla and all these things. So I think maybe one of the Simpsons writers was like, "Hey, these all live in the same universe. Let's incorporate it." So it was kind of a cool pull, not necessarily something that was included in any of the King Kong movies, but it's something that was kind of cool to see in this reference. And Burns is like, it's like, "Smithers, this is a golden opportunity. If we get him alive, we could put him on Broadway. Dead, we can sell monkey stew to the army."
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
See, this is where I miss Andy, because he could explain this better.
Did they sell monkey stew to the army?
Maybe. I don't freaking know.
That'd be great. And so Ape Homer is like, ooh, and plays with Marge's hair. And Marge, kind of complains about it a little bit. And then he smells Marge. He's like,
and then like she kind of falls for him.
Yep. Which the
which is the movie,
which in the movie, the lady falls for the ape. And so Burns' men come out to try to capture Homer. And Ape Homer eats Lenny, which is so good. And then Carl shoots him. Like he's in his mouth and he's like, oh, save me. And then he tries to shoot the ape and ends up hitting Lenny instead.
Yeah.
He's such a good shot. And so I like how Burns like, oh, take this, and tries to throw a gas bomb and gasses himself. And it must not have been it must have been more of like a
sleeping gas.
Sleeping gas, but a loopy gas too, because Burns doesn't really pass out right away. He kind of gets all loopy. And then Smithers throws the gas bomb at him and makes the Homer ape pass out. And I like how Burns praises Smithers, and he's going to give him a raise. And then Ape Homer just wakes up for a little bit and chomps him, which is so funny because the gas bomb can clearly pass out King Homer, but Smithers is perfectly okay.
No, Burns is perfectly okay.
Burns is clearly okay.
Smithers is now dead.
Smithers is now dead, yes. And so we cut to Broadway, and Dave Shutton, he's what kind of show you got for us, Mr. Burns? Well, the ape's going to stand around for 3 hours or so. Then we'll close with ethnic comedy of Dugan and Dershultz. Sensational. And clearly, I don't know if anyone, even the writers of the original King Kong, had an idea of how that show was really supposed to go, because that's literally what it is in the King Kong. They just have the ape standing on stage. Like, what was the purpose of that? Why
to see the giant ape?
I guess I don't. It is funny. Like, that joke really makes it stand out. Like, well, that's exactly what they did. This made the monkey stand on stage for 3 hours.
I do like the marquee. It says King Homer, the 8th wonder of the world, plus the chubbiest kick line in town.
God, that's so weird. I mean, I guess looks weren't the biggest thing back in the 30s.
Probably not. Have you seen what they wore back in the 30s?
Yeah.
I don't think they were too worried about style or fashion. I mean, I'm sure they kind of were, but Yep.
And so Barney's in the audience like, look at the size of that platform. I mean, that's Barney, of course, did not care about the ape. He cared more about the platform. And so Ape Homer clearly breaks away from his chains, because that's what King Kong does. So
Barney, he was angry because they were taking pictures of him in the flashes.
That clearly, that's why they hung signs at the zoo that says, please do not use your flash.
Exactly.
Because they all know that monkeys and animals are afraid of flashes. And so Barney goes up on stage and offers Homer a peanut, and he takes the whole bag, and Barney was like, I offered one peanut. And he starts kicking Homer, and clearly Barney is not a non-threat, and Homer just ignores him.
Yep. And so now we cut, King Homer escapes, and we cut to the next Broadway show, and it's Shirley Temple singing, dancing, and then King Homer eats her because, he's hungry. So then, he gets outside, he climbs an apartment building, and Marge and Burns are like hanging out because Burns like, oh, I don't want to read the reviews. And Homer snatches Marge out of the apartment, and then he starts climbing. I love the fact that, we see a shot of the plane, so they're like, well, I guess we're going to have to refuel because Homer is taking forever. And he's only able to get up 3 flights of the building before passing out because, again, it's Homer, he's out of shape, and which is, I get the joke, but at the same time, he's a gorilla, and gorillas are in shape. Yeah, I'm assuming, especially in the wild like that. I mean, he was fighting a dinosaur, for Christ's sake.
I know, and I love Marge's line. She's like, you look a little flushed. Maybe you should eat more vegetables and less people.
So then we get a headline. It says "Woman Weds Ape," and the subheadline is "Dick Cavett Born." And the date of the newspaper is November 19th, 1936, the year
38.
he was born.
It was 38.
No, I thought it was 36.
Nope, 38.
Anyways, but that was the year Dick Cavett was born.
Yep. And the article includes a picture of adult Dick Cavett, even though he was just born. And as it spins into view, the article is titled Woody Allen Born, and is accompanied by a picture of Woody Allen.
No, 1936. He was born November 19th, 1936, and that is what the newspaper said.
Well, then my book got it wrong.
Yes, it did.
But then, so this is a parody of the news article titled Woody Allen Born.
Yeah.
It is accompanied by a picture of Woody Allen that is replaced by Caveat's photo for the final spin.
Yes. So then, we go to the wedding. I love the fact that the monkey comes in. He's like, "Are you with the groom or the bride?" "Really, dude? You have to ask." And then the monkey takes his hand and he makes a height thing. He goes, "Oh, over here, sir." "Really? Do you think the monkey is with the bride or the groom?"
Well, have you met Marge's family?
So now they're standing outside taking pictures, and Marge's mom is like, "Hey, where's your father?" And King Homer eats Clancy. And so in this episode, or in this story, Homer eats 4 people. And so, yeah, that is the end of the episode. It's kind of weird that the first 2 episodes kind of end all, nice and neat and, happily ever after. Because, aren't these supposed to be Halloween stories? They're just kind of scary.
Well, that's the thing with a lot of Treehouse of Horrors even now, is they don't necessarily have to be scary stories. They could just be, either thrillers or something old-timey. Yeah. King Kong rampaging through downtown New York, that's pretty scary. But they don't necessarily have to be. Well, okay, look at the Twilight Zone. In the end the doll, the doll turns back to normal, or something's in the Twilight Zone kind of end semi nicely. But for those of you that don't know or haven't seen it yet, and you guys have a chance to buy it, there is a King Homer Funko Pop.
Yes,
where he's holding Marge. So, guys, be out on the look for that. It's something kind of cool to.
I don't know if they still sell it anymore.
No, not in the shop, but on secondhand stores or comic book shops or something like that.
Yep. So now we cut back to the house, and Marge is saying, "Oh, we don't have candy, but here's fruit," and the kids are like, "Meh." And Marge's like, "Fruit is nature's candy." Marge. Don't be that house, Marge. Don't be that house that gives a frickin' apple.
Yeah.
So then, Ned kicks down the door, and he's a headless zombie, and he tries to scare people, and Bart's like, you gotta try harder than that. And then we cut to Grandpa, who's basically having a heart attack.
That's a great I think back in the 90s when I first saw this, I'm like, dude, that would be an awesome costume. I want that costume.
Yeah.
And I could, even to this day, I think they have to be homemade. I don't know if I've ever seen just something like that retail.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen it in retail either.
Yeah. But it's a dope costume, and definitely opposite Flanders.
Yes.
Definitely.
It's really weird.
Well, I think that's one thing they can do with Treehouse of Horrors is they can reverse roles really well. And this is definitely a role reversal thing for Flanders. I don't think I could see him doing this in normal Springfield.
No. So then Bart says he has a story that'll make you wet your pants. And Abe is like, too late. And then you just see all the kids just move away, which is weird because some of the kids are sitting in on the chair on the floor.
You don't know how much you're in Abe released.
But maybe he's wearing an adult diaper too.
Oh, clearly he's not.
Well, did you? Just because he married. Even if if I was sitting next to somebody who's wearing an adult diaper and they told me they wet themselves, I would move away. I'm not staying towards that. So now we get dial Z for zombies, which is a reference to Hitchcock's film Dial M for Murder. And this is also our first zombie story.
Yep. And this story about zombies, is more related to Night of the Living Dead by George Romero.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I just said the title was a reference.
Yeah,
so,
but the movies or the episode itself is more of a reference of Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah. So now we cut to Bart's class, and he's giving a book presentation on Baby's first pop-up book. And it's weird because Bart says there's 26 pages, but if you look, each letter takes up 2 pages. So the book would actually be 52 pages, which means Bart can't read or do math.
Well, technically, there'd be 26 physical pages, but a page is consisted of 1 on each side. Correct. So he's half right. Technically, there are 26 physical pages.
Fair. But it's technically 52 pages long.
Yes.
So and then Mrs. Krabappel's like, Bart, you need to read another book.
No. Hold on. Bart's like, from A apple to Z zebra, Baby's first pop-up book is 26 pages of alphabetic adventure. Bart, you mean to tell me you read a book intended for preschoolers? Well, most of it.
God. So then Bart goes to the school library, and the reason this is the school library is because I thought it was like the regular library, but then towards the end of the episode, they go back to the school.
Yeah. So schools our elementary school, Jefferson had a library. So
most schools, I think, have libraries.
Yeah, he's like, and he grabs a Waldo.
Find Waldo.
And it's just Waldo standing on a page.
Well, they aren't even trying anymore.
Nope.
So then Bart looks up and he sees the occult section. He's like, I don't remember this being here.
Yeah. Because, I mean, most schools have a library. Most schools don't have an occult section.
No. They do not.
So Bart wanders in, and the first part of the bookshelf that Bart passes has the number 666 on it.
Yep, I thought that was a great detail.
When I saw that, I almost wanted. I didn't pause it, but I was trying to look at all the numbers on the shelves.
664, 665.
Oh, did it? Okay, did it was a numerical? Okay, I was wondering if it was 666 on each one.
No, because when I paused it, when I saw it, I did see 664.
Cool. Yeah. And so books flies off the shelf and hits Bart in the head, and it's a Book of Magic Spells, Volume 2.
Book of Magic and Spells.
Oh, sure. Not magic spells, just magic and spells.
Yes.
And we see there's a Time Life logo in the upper corner. So, look, even Time Magazine sponsors occult books. Yes. So Bart grabs it, and I like how he opens it up, and there's all the haunted faces popping out, heads out of it. And then Bart closes the book, and they're like, "Oh, wow." Because ghosts can feel pain.
Yes.
So then we cut back to the Simpson house, and Lisa's staring at her picture of Snowball 1, which lived from 1988 to 1990. And we all learn that Snowball got run over by Quimby's brother Clovis in the Chrysler.
I'd like to point out that the picture is of a black cat, but we see in Lisa's sax that Snowball was white, hence the name Snowball.
Yep, and we actually did see a picture of Snowball 1 back then too. So, yeah, my guess is just animators just didn't realize, or there were no physical notes on the script that was sent to the animators.
Yeah,
that would definitely be my guess. And so, Lisa, tells us how Snowball died, and Bart's like, I'm sure there's a spell in here that can fix that. And so they go to the Pet Cemetery.
And I don't know why because I saw the sign Pet Cemetery, and I know this wasn't a reference, but my mind went to the movie Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, because the Pet Cemetery was on an Indian burial ground,
and not next to the adult or the human graveyard. But for anybody out there, the original movie came out in 1989.
So we get some gravestones in there, and there's a few different shots of them, back and forth. One of the gravestones has a lobster on it with an epitaph that says "Eaten by mistake." And my first thought went to Pinchy,
yeah, mine too.
And I was like,
but he wasn't eaten by mistake, or was he?
No, he was.
No. He was killed by mistake. He was eaten on purpose.
Yes,
because Homer's like,
he's already dead.
But he was crying as he was eating Pinchy.
Well, I would say eaten by mistake because he didn't clearly mean to cook him either. Like, you know what I mean?
But don't forget Homer. But Homer wanted to put him in a warm bath. That's kind of on Homer's for being an idiot.
Now, I almost want to wonder if someone was watching this episode, saw that epitaph, and they're like, "Oh, dude, we should do a backstory for this lobster."
Maybe
that would be awesome. Fish Police, which I don't quite get. Capital Critters, and Family Dog. Now there are some other ones besides the lobster. There's a dog's grave with a tombstone that's shaped like a bone. Hamster statue in a wire wheel. Yeah. So there's a couple other things that didn't have like names on it, but some other cool gravestones within the pet cemetery. So Bart is reading in his spell book. Yep. And this is fantastic. This was a really, really good pull. And so the first part of the spell is Cullen, Rayburn, Nars, Trebek, which are last names of game show hosts.
Yep. Well, Trebek, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah.
And well, I see that's the other thing. I bet, dude, Andy would have been able to fill us in on these other ones.
Oh yeah.
And then Zabar, Krejci, was it
Krejci,
Keldor, Walmart, and these are names of inexpensive department stores. And Zabar and Walmart are the Zabar.
I've heard of Zabar.
Have you? Yeah. I haven't. Being the only ones as of 2012 that are still in business. And
although Krejci or whatever it is known as Kmart, although now Kmart is defunct.
Kmart's gone now too. Yeah. But it's really funny because I know Trebek and I know Walmart, and the other 6 of the things that Bart has said, I have no clue what they are. But
I've heard of Zabar's. I know Walmart and I know Trebek, and that's it. The other 5 I don't know.
Yeah, and it's the funny thing really is like you kind of think about it, and all these names, they are like spell names. They're not like traditional names. And so at the cemetery, Bart is wearing the album cover for Michael Jackson's Thriller on his head while he brings the zombies to life. The video for Thriller features zombies rising from their graves.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so that was
I'm gonna out myself. I'm a little dumb. At first, I thought that was Prince.
Oh my god.
Well, I only saw it for a quick second. I'm like, oh no, that's Michael Jackson.
Yep. And so we get all the zombies popping out of their graves, and one of the headstones was Jay Kogan, and he is a writer.
There's also a
writer and producer for The Simpsons.
I think there was also a Wolodarski one too. Those are like the 2 they always go to.
Yep. Well, they were the main writers during this era, so.
Yeah. So, Bart, instead of resurrecting animals, he resurrected humans. And I love Lisa calls them zombies, but Bart is like, they prefer the living impaired.
Yeah.
I love that joke because that joke really fits into this day and age. Well, they prefer to be called. I'm like, so good. So then we cut to Willie, and now this is kind of weird, not in the sense that he's burying dead bodies in the
I don't know if he is burying bodies.
Garden.
He's just making his garden look nice.
And zombies pop out, but the weird thing is the zombies don't go for Willie's brain.
Yeah, that is.
They just walk by him.
Maybe they don't realize the zombies want brains yet.
Maybe. So so I feel like he was burying.
After he's ignoring, he pats down the dirt. No, this is why I don't think he did. I think they were just buried under the school and they came out. Because after they came out, Willie's like, oh, and pats down his dirt again. what does he say? Like, pretty as a peach or
something like that.
Something like that. I was like, okay, Willie, just hang outside.
So then the zombies, they go towards Ned's house and he invites them in because it's Ned, and he gets eaten. He gets his brains eaten by the zombies. And so, the kids run home and tell Homer they did. I love I'm like, Bart's like, Dad, we did something bad. Did you wreck the car? Shakes their head, no. Did you raise the dead? Yes. But the car's okay. Yes. Okay. He's more worried about the car than the zombies. So then it's weird because if there's zombies roaming, you don't think the kids would go to school. And also Skinner, if he's a zombie, so he gets on the intercom and he goes,
it's like the zombies went from mindless brain eating zombies to smart zombies that could talk and.
But only Skinner is a smart zombie. Oh, I guess Shakespeare too.
Well, they all kind of were.
But so Skinner has Martin report to his office for his delicious, delicious brain.
Yep.
And so then we cut to Krusty the Clown, and Sideshow Mel is in a box, and Krusty opens up the box. Sideshow Mel grabs him, and then he pulls him in, eats his brain, and then Krusty is like, "Kids, send your parents' brains. Write parents' brains on a postcard," which clearly they're not going to do that. But I thought it was a funny gag. So then, the Simpsons are at their house. They're all trying to barricade themselves in. Homer's just, sitting on the couch watching Krusty. And they're like, "Hey, Homer, did you barricade the door?" And Homer forgot to barricade the door, and the zombies break in. And he's like, "Don't eat my family. Take me instead." And so the other Simpsons get away, and the zombies are like tapping on his head, and it's hollow. And
good joke.
The joke is, he doesn't have a brain, which is hilarious. Yep. So then they all run outside of the car, and Zombie Flanders asks, I love this. He's like, "Homer, could I pick your brain for a second?" or something like that.
Apparently Ned Zombie thinks Homer actually has a brain.
Yes. Well, it's Ned. He's a nice guy, even in zombie form.
Yeah.
He says, "Oh, can I nibble on your ear for a little bit?" And Homer shoots him, and Bart goes, "Homer, you shot the zombie Flanders."
You killed zombie Flanders. And Homer's like, "He was a zombie?"
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. And so they hop in the car and they start driving away, and they turn on the radio, and it's KZMB. All zombie radio. And it's just brains. So then we get our traditional King and Kodos appearance in this episode.
Which I believe was just a repeat of the last one without the peace symbol on the earth. Because I think they just reused it.
Yep. And so they do the laughing bit too. I wanted to time it. I wanted to go back to Treehouse of Horror 2 and time the laughing and see if they actually used the same amount of time. Because remember when we were talking with Andy, he was like, they were just laughing so long because they just needed a few extra seconds to extend the episode.
Yeah.
And so then we cut back to Zombie Jimbo, Kearney, and Dolph kicking Zombie Skinner's head around like a soccer ball.
Don't hit the face. Anything but the face. Which, it's a head. I mean, they're going to kick you in the face, dude.
Yeah, and so we get to the school. They run in, and Barney is eating a zombie arm. And Homer's like, "Barney, not you too." He's like, "Oh, I'm not a zombie, but when in Rome." Oh, Barney. You drunk Barney. And so Homer takes out a shotgun, and he's like, "Take that, Washington. Eat ledge, Einstein. Show's over, Shakespeare." And then Shakespeare's
Is this
on
the end of William Shakespeare?
No, Zombie Shakespeare.
Zombie Shakespeare. That's what it was.
Yep. And so then Bart finds the next book, and so he recites the spell: Kojak, Minix, Banachek, Dano, which are all names of 1970s TV detectives.
I've only heard of Dano because that's Hawaii Five-0.
Yep, I've heard of Kolchak, so that was pretty good. And
Kojak?
Kolchak.
No, it's Kojak.
No, it's Kolchak. We'll
There's
talk about that.
There's a J in there.
I'll tell you at the end. And then the last one, last part of the spell, Trojan, Ramses, Magnum, Chic. And those are the brands of condoms. Go Simpsons writers, that was good.
I've heard of 2 of those.
Yep.
I've heard of Trojan and Magnum.
You know, we need to do a bonus episode with Andy so he can help us out with all of this. Bart's first spell turns Lisa turns Lisa into a snail. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't realize you had such pretty eyes." She's like, "Aw." And then the next spell turns zombies back to to go back to their grave, or back to not being alive.
I'm Joe Smith. Are you Joe Smith from 1888?
Was it 1885? I think it was 1885.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And but I like how not all the zombies go back to their graves. Like,
yeah, because Quimby is like, "Oh, now we just have a pile of dead bodies around," which So it seems kind of weird, but because he's like, "Yeah, now we have all these bodies lying around, and apparently they're just gonna have a zombie cleanup crew." And so, very end, last scene of the Treehouse of Horror, we get Marge sitting on the couch, all eating TV dinners, like, "I'm glad we didn't turn into mindless zombies," as they're watching TV. And they're just sitting there,
And then Homer's like, "Man fall down. Funny." And then we get credits. So, man, this, I don't think we've done it in the past, but since Andy's not on the show, we're gonna give you our final thoughts and a rating. So we're gonna do the rating this week.
Yeah, we'll keep it somewhat
similar.
I love all I love a majority of the Treehouse episodes. There's a little, Krusty the Krusty doll. I'm adamant and convinced he didn't come in a box. So the box thing is kind of weird. I would have liked to have seen the guy give the Krusty doll to Homer in the box, not off a shelf. But still really funny. The King Kong stuff, really, really funny. The jokes are funny. Women and semen don't mix. You got the Escape Pina Colada song thrown in there. That's fantastic by Jimmy Buffett. And the zombie, any kind of zombie story is always really good, and there's some good bits there. I think we all know where I'm going with this. It's a 5. Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Oh yeah.
I always love the Treehouse of Horror. The King and Kodos thing, I'm assuming they threw that in there for time purposes, because clearly,
and it's just funny. They're literally saying that the zombies are going to take over the earth, and then they'll be able to take over. These are the laziest aliens in the world. They just let the humans kill themselves off, so that way they could take over the planet.
But it's all really good. The commentary is really good. 5. Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Oh yeah, same with me. Everything's coming up Millhouse. There hasn't been probably maybe this is why we have Andy on, because we don't even give a rating for these. But I mean, these are always hilarious. They're always funny. They have great gags. I love all the references, even though I might not have seen them. I haven't seen the Twilight Zone episode. I have seen King Kong, which is cool, the 1930s one. Seen Night of the Living Dead. So I mean, 2 for 3. That's pretty good in my book. But everything's coming up Millhouse for this one for sure. No character profile this week, guys. So let's just close it out. So you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Everything's The Simpsons Did It podcast. And I want to thank The Simpsons, man. I know this is a few weeks gone already, unfortunately, but I do want to thank The Simpsons, man, for helping us do the contest we did a while ago, where we gave away a couple Millhouse Funko Pops. His help has, at the time of this recording, has boosted our followers up over 800. So welcome all you new Simpsons Did It podcast listeners. And thanks for joining along. I'm glad you found your way to us one way or the other. But follow us on all our platforms for all our goodies. For those of you that are new as well, we do have a donation website, buymeacoffee.com/The Simpsons Did It Pod. So head over there. Feel free to donate. I'll post the stickers again just so you guys can see what they look like. And if you guys donate $5, $10, $15, $20, I will send you off some free stickers. And thank you for the donation. And the more donations we get, the more time we have to spend to make cool stuff. And then finally, check us out on YouTube. You can find all of our past episodes on YouTube to be able to listen to those in video format if you see fit. So until next time, I'm Steven Spooky Skalansky.
And I'm Robert Zombie Skalansky.
And this has been The Simpsons Did It.
Shh.